Welcome to a new video of Greek mythology. In this video, we will take a look at the intriguing creatures called sirens. They symbolize both attraction and danger. The word siren comes from the Greek Siren, but we don't know much about their origins. They are famous from Homer's Odyssey. In this story, they are alluring creatures who sing beautiful songs, luring sailors in the vast sea. Their songs are so tempting that sailors couldn't resist, leading to ships crashing into rocks. But there's more to these intriguing figures. To understand the sirens and their dangerous charm, we are going to explore their mythological background. Make sure to stay until the end for the tragic story of Corin and the encounter of a siren. Sirens, with their allure and eerie dread, have held a lasting fascination in human culture for centuries. While they have a firm place in mythological stories, the tales about their origins vary and evolve across different eras and cultures, especially within the realm of Greek mythology. One account suggests that sirens are the offspring of the river god Achilles and a muse named Terpsichore, renowned for her joyous dancing. This connection may explain the strong bond sirens have with music and dance, reflecting the heritage of their divine parents. Alternatively, other narratives link their parentage to ancient sea deities like Phorcys, Ceto, or Okeanos. These stories convey a sense of the mysterious and oceanic heritage that has always been associated with sirens, anchoring them firmly in a marine environment. A particularly compelling narrative intertwines sirens with the myth of Persephone, the goddess of spring. Sirens once were companions to Persephone, the daughter of Zeus and Demeter, the mother of the harvest. They reveled in their youth, residing in meadows and basking in the Mediterranean sun's brilliance. This chapter in their lives took a sudden turn when Persephone was cruelly abducted by Hades, the lord of the underworld. In her despair, Demeter granted wings to these beautiful nymphs, enabling them to search for her abducted daughter. Their quest, unfortunately, ended in failure. In a fit of anger and grief, Demeter transformed them into part bird, part woman creatures. This tragic transformation imprisoned them on a desolate island known as Anthemoessa, a name that eerily echoes with blossoms and song, bound by divine decree to remain there until a sailor successfully resisted their enchanting songs. Their captivating melodies thus became symbolic not only of their desire for freedom, but also of their deep longing for life, turning them from hunters into the hunted. Over the centuries, the Romans adopted and adapted the siren myth, depicting them as half-woman and half-fish creatures, a portrayal mirroring mermaids. These mesmerizing yet perilous beings blend elements from both mermaids and sirens, making them beguiling to the human imagination, yet formidable in their mythology. The sirens were not ordinary creatures. Their most attractive feature was their heavenly singing, which could enchant anyone, whether they were mortal or a god. Their songs were known to be beautiful, but also deadly, leading many to a tragic end. Even Zeus, the king of the gods, had to block his ears with wax to protect himself from their irresistible songs. The siren songs are often seen as a symbol of the powerful attraction of the unknown and the dangerous, which exists deep within the human mind. Any sailor who heard the siren songs would lose their sense of reason and desperately try to find the source, often steering their ship toward dangerous rocks and certain destruction. The sirens were so confident in their bewitching music that they even took a challenge from the beautiful goddess Aphrodite, betting that no mortal could resist their songs. Sirens are often described as having wings and claws. Some stories say they had the upper body of a beautiful woman and the lower body of a bird, while others say they looked entirely human but had large bird-like wings. These physical features add to the mystery and allure of their legend and also represent their dual nature, beautiful yet dangerous, seductive yet deadly. These fascinating beings remind us of how beauty and sweet voices can sometimes hide harmful intentions. In Greek mythology, there were three famous sirens: Aglaope, whose name meant splendid voice, Leucosia, known as the White One, and Parthenope, referred to as the Maidenly. Each had a unique story contributing to the sirens' enchanting songs and the tragedies they caused. Leucosia, perhaps the most dangerous, had a captivating appearance. Wearing white, she often appeared unexpectedly, her form barely visible in mist and shadows. To tired sailors, she seemed like a safe beacon, her otherworldly beauty comforting. But her lovely song was deadly. Stories say sailors lured by her music would steer their ships toward her, leaving safe routes. Her voice, often the last they heard, invaded their minds, overcame their senses, and erased rational thoughts. Veiled in mystery and white, Leucosia symbolized deceptive beauty and danger, warning sailors that not all that shines in the sea is safe. Next was Parthenope, symbolizing maidenly grace and innocence. But beneath her gentle facade lurked horror. She exploited sailors' homesickness and yearning for home. Her sweet songs promised love and comfort, luring sailors towards her. Yet the reality was different. Guided by her cunning, they would crash their ships into rocks, meeting a gruesome end. Parthenope's stories taught moral lessons about not trusting the illusion of comfort in strange places. One story tells of her defeat by the Muses. Unable to bear defeat, she threw herself into the sea, ending her enchanting yet destructive existence. Even in her end, she reminded us of the price for overconfidence in mythical realms. The last famous siren was Aglaope, whose name, splendid voice, was true. Her voice embodied the beauty of dawn and twilight's melody. Her melodies charmed the air, making the wind pause to listen. Even animals were said to be enchanted by it. Aglaope didn't just seduce sailors, she ensnared them. Under her spell, they danced to her tunes, steering their ships towards reefs, lulled by her deadly whispers. Stories about Aglaope's powers highlighted her voice's control, securing the siren's place in mythology. These stories reminded us that voices could deceive, and not all enchanting songs brought joy. Aglaope's splendid voice symbolized beauty's fatal trap in myths. Their power lay in their voices and words. These dangerous divas promised knowledge and prophecy, touching sailors' desires, binding them until their demise. Each tale weaves the siren's charm, beauty, and menace, creating a vivid narrative of their mythology. To understand the role of sirens in ancient people's lives, we need to consider their beliefs. Sirens were important to sailors back then, and their stories created fear and superstitions among seafarers. Sailing in those days was not just physically challenging, but mentally taxing as well. The vast open sea was unfamiliar and frightening, and sirens represented the unknown dangers beneath the calm ocean surface. Throughout ancient times and even extending into the Middle Ages, the mythology of sirens indeed held a strong presence in various cultures the world over, especially those with significant maritime traditions. From the Greeks and Romans to the Celts and Norsemen, sailors spun tales of these enchanting and fatal creatures, a tradition that extended far beyond the Mediterranean seas from whence the stories originated. The image of sirens varied throughout the ages and by the people that spoke of them. Early Greek depictions portrayed them as being part bird, part woman creatures, their human aspect present from the head down to the waist, while their lower halves were that of a bird. Later on, they were more commonly represented in the form seen today, as mermaid-like creatures, bearing the torso of a woman and the tail of a fish. This mutation, seemingly more appealing to the general audience, presented them as more womanly seductive, which greatly enhanced their effect on sailors' imaginations. Stories of sirens were not merely meant for entertainment. These myths had a didactic role, teaching lessons about human weaknesses, the perils of temptation, and the treacherous nature of the sea. The sheer terror ignited by the thought of these beautiful but deadly creatures is reflected in many ancient nautical maps, where one can find the phrase, "Here be monsters," written across uncharted or dangerous waters, hinting at the lurking presence of sirens and other malevolent sea creatures. In the ancient world, sirens were believed to have inhabited secluded islands surrounded by rocky cliffs. They were said to sing enchantingly beautiful songs, the melodies so captivating they drew in mariners sailing by, luring them towards their doom. These stories were so effective that it was common for sailors to take serious precautions when entering what they believed were siren-infested waters. Some would even plug their ears with wax to avoid succumbing to the sirens' hypnotic songs, a preventative method famously illustrated in Homer's epic Odyssey. Indeed, the legendary encounters between Odysseus and the sirens remain one of the most well-known tales about these creatures. Aiming to safely sail past the Sirens' Island, Odysseus had his crew tie him to the ship's mast, and he ordered them to plug their ears with beeswax to scoff at the enchanting songs. He did this out of curiosity to hear their dangerous song without risking his ship's safety. True to his perception, the beautiful songs of the sirens tried to lure Odysseus towards them, but he remained tied to the mast, his heroic will unyielding, and his mind steadfast. His successful navigation past the Sirens is often seen as a triumph of reason over raw emotion and temptation, and remains a timeless symbol of the human force of determination against the alluring call of the unknown. In retrospect, the tales of the Sirens echo down the ages as much more than just naval mythology, symbolizing the lure and peril of the unknown that still serves as a cautionary tale for humanity. Their stories reinforce the need for vigilance, patience, and resilience, teaching listeners that not all that glitters is gold, and that every choice comes with consequences. In folklore and modern stories, mermaids and sirens often get mixed up, but they each have special things that make them different. They look somewhat alike, but their inner qualities, reasons, and how they interact with people, especially sailors, are not the same. Mermaids are half human and half fish. They are often shown as beautiful ladies with fishtails. They represent the beauty and secrets of the sea. People have different ideas about them, like in some stories they are kind and helpful, and in others they can be scary and bring bad luck. This depends on the stories and beliefs from different places. In many stories, mermaids are gentle and represent love, fertility, and being attractive. Sometimes they help humans or even fall in love with them. Think of Loreley from German stories, or the Little Mermaid in Hans Christian Andersen's tale. They make us feel sorry for them, not afraid. Usually mermaids use their beauty, not their voices, to attract people. Sirens, on the other hand, were first in old Greek stories, and they were part woman and part bird. They were all about tricking and hurting people, but with time they started to be shown as half woman and half fish, which makes them look like mermaids. But they're not the same. Sirens are famous for their hauntingly pretty voices and songs that made sailors go the wrong way and crash their ships on rocks. Even though they are different, both sirens and mermaids still catch our imaginations and are part of sea stories. They show us how amazing and mysterious the sea can be, with its beauty, dangers, and things we can't understand. Together, they are symbols of the sea's magic and the respect it deserves. As we move forward in our video, it's essential to acknowledge the common misunderstandings that revolve around these legendary beings. Let's take a moment to clarify some of these myths and discover the actual truths. 1. Sirens and mermaids are the same. As we just explained, they are not. 2. All sirens are evil. Given their reputation for causing shipwrecks, sirens are often cast as evil creatures. However, in some stories they are simply fulfilling their nature. The original Greek sirens were believed to be punished by the gods and forced to remain on their island until a sailor could resist their song. 3. All sirens sing. While sirens are most famous for their enchanting voices, not all of them sing. In some accounts of the myth, sirens would also use musical instruments or word riddles to enchant sailors. 4. Sirens could fly. Although early Greek depictions of sirens showed them as part woman, part bird, this doesn't mean that they could fly. They were often showed with small bird wings that may not have been suitable for flight. It's also worth noting that their bird features were gradually replaced with fishtails in later accounts, reflecting the common confusion with mermaids. 5. Sirens are beautiful women. While sirens were described as having enchanting voices and femme fatale attributes, there is no standard description of their physical beauty. In some depictions, they have a strange, monstrous appearance that contrasts with their compelling voices. 6. There were only 2 sirens. The number of sirens is often disputed. Early writers mention only 2 sirens, but later sources vary the number, often presenting them as a trio. Names and individual attributes for the sirens also vary widely in different accounts. Now that you know about the sirens, it's time for our harrowing tale that begins in the ancient Greek city-state called Ephyra. Ephyra was well known for its fearless sea voyagers, who daringly traversed Neptune's treacherous kingdom, the sea. Among these brave souls was a young sailor named Corin. He was a bold adventurer who constantly thirsted for discovering new paths and exploring new lands. One day, an old mariner told Corin about an enchanting island that he only vaguely remembered, located far out into the sea. This island, known as Anthemoessa, was said to be paradise on Earth, filled with exotic flowers and vibrant seas. The stories hinted at the possibility of unseen treasures and faster trade routes due to its strategic location, piquing Corin's interest. Intrigued by the opportunity of discovering uncharted lands and the promise of wealth, Corin quickly assembled a group of robust sailors ready for the challenging journey. With nerves wrought with excitement and a hint of worry, they set sail on a journey, unaware that that was the haunt of a notorious siren named Aglaope. As Corin's sturdy ship sailed towards Anthemoessa, the crew noticed a pervasive transformation in the sounds of the sea. Allied with the regular whispers of the wind and rhythmic lapping of the waves was a whisper of an unearthly melody. It was deceptively mesmerizing, and it was no ordinary song but the deadly serenade of Aglaope, the notorious siren. Her enchantingly spectral voice danced on the wind, binding every listener's heart to the sea's age-old rhythms. It was not a songbird they heard, but a predator, ready to lure them into her fatal grip. Unaware of the imminent danger, the sailors yielded to their senses, enfeebled by the enchanting rhythm of the distant siren's song. One by one, they abandoned their duties, entranced by her deadly melody. It was not simply a song, but a potent enchantment, gnawing at their sanity. Corin, captivated but not mesmerized, realized with a spark of horror that the enchanting melody was a siren's song. He recalled the old sailors' tales of sirens with melodious voices, enticing the sailors to their watery graves. With every hypnotic note that Aglaope cruelly strung, the danger of their approaching doom became clearer to Corin. As a foreboding sense of danger swept over him, he rushed to warn his infatuated crew, realizing the extent of Aglaope's deadly lure. His words fell on deaf ears, unable to break the trance, gaining him nothing but vacant stares and a chilling hint of their impending doom. His sailors were lost, dancing to the lethal rhythm of a siren's tune. The tranquil island they sought was the inescapable trap of the siren. Corin's heart pounded frenziedly as the ship drifted further into the lethal clutches of Anthemoessa, the sailors mesmerized and oblivious. Aglaope's song now felt darker, an otherworldly melody reeling them into her sanguinary snare. With lackluster comprehension, Corin saw Aglaope. Astride a high cliff edge, she looked spectral amid the spiraling eddies of cloud and sea spray. Her luminous eyes sparkled with cruel allure, a stark contrast to the eroding sanity of his crew. Every note she sang resonated with unnatural vibrancy, causing a chill wind to course through the mariners' hearts. Corin saw his sailors' eyes, alarmingly distant and forlorn, marks of a ghastly euphoria. Aglaope's alluring song promised warmth and eternal tranquility. The chilling sea wind felt like a summer zephyr, the deadly crash of the sea like a lullaby. The pull of the promised paradise was so immense that the unaware sailors were spellbound. Time worn thin, Corin desperately needed a solution to break the trance chaining his crew. Recalling Odysseus's encounter with the sirens, he longed for beeswax to plug his crew's ears, mimicking Odysseus's defense. Mere shouts were ineffective. He needed a tangible and drastic method to awaken his crew. As the grim cliff edge emerged from the mist, Corin made a resolute decision carrying a harsh consequence. With quick resolve, Corin gripped his sword. He sliced his palm, jarring his crew by smearing his blood in their ears. The blood's metallic scent and sudden wetness startled some from their stupor. Yet the ship was now ominously close to Anthemoessa's jagged rocks, the waves wildly lashing around them. A cruel realization dawned upon Aglaope. Her voice crescendoed, sending chills across Corin's spine. Even he found himself swaying under the relentless impact of her voice as the ship teetered dangerously near destruction. Faced with this peril, Corin made an unthinkable choice. His hand trembled as he drove his sword through his eardrums. The agonizing scream that escaped his lips stunned his sailors into action. Partially freed from the siren's grip, they navigated the ship away from the mortal cliffs. Corin watched as several entranced sailors, who hadn't been rescued from the spell, jumped overboard to join Aglaope in their watery grave. He was alive, but deafened, forever haunted by the last melody he'd heard and the memory of his lost men. Thus, the sea claimed lives again, lured by the siren's song. The haunting echo of the waves served as a chilling reminder of their fate. Every future voyage would carry the reminder of the sirens of Anthemoessa, turning beauty into a sinister weapon of death. Thank you for watching the video about sirens. We deeply appreciate your time and interest. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content on gods, myths, and legends from ancient times. Until next time, fair winds and calm seas to you all.